So we already know that Kamala Harris made a mistake by skipping out on the Al Smith dinner. We talked about that. But then she doubled down and made another mistake at her rally where she insulted Christians this time around. Someone was being escorted out. They screamed out the words, "Jesus is Lord." And here's her response. Watch.
Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally. No, I think you meant to go to the smaller one down the street. Come on.
I think we're starting to see her insecurities bleed through, right? She can't take a joke to save her life. She can't make fun of herself to save her life. She seems to be so disconnected from people who do practice religion like Christians and Catholics. No wonder she shows up to her rallies and she seemingly looks drunk. Check this out.
Shout your own name for a minute. That's what I'm talking about, because it's about you. It's about your family. It's about you. That's what I'm talking about.
So I don't know if you've noticed, the campaign has gone from everything about joy and a new way forward to, well, Trump is a threat to democracy and he can never be the president again type of rhetoric. Check it out.
He's becoming increasingly unstable and unhinged, and it requires that response. I think the American people are seeing it, witnessing it in real time. And we must take note of the fact that this is an individual who wants to be president of the United States. And I think the American people deserve better than someone who actually seems to be unstable.
Again, the irony, right? When Democrats speak, it's as if they are describing themselves. She looks unstable, especially if you go back and watch that Brett Baier interview with Fox News. I mean, she looked like she was about to lose it. So, of course, this has led to her new strategy, which is to talk about that Trump is exhausted, he can't do his rallies, he's canceling meetings, which means that he's unfit, he's ran out of energy, etc., etc. And again, that is a losing strategy because Joe Biden tried that in 2020 and you can't run it again because people have heard it 1,000 times. They're done with it. You got to come with something better. But that doesn't mean CNN believes that.
I'm tired and I'm not running for president. I don't have to be the president after. I think we have to understand that, like, what Abby said is true. You know, he doesn't have enough battery to make it to election day. He doesn't currently have enough battery to make it through an entire speech. He stood on stage this week for 40 minutes listening to his own playlist. And we need to talk about how that's not normal. And I think we also need to talk about the fact that when are we going to stop pretending that this is the real candidate? We're just trying to get him across the finish line. And then to your point, we're going to put in President J.D. Vance, because there is no way that this man who can't make it through an entire speech, who keeps canceling things, is going to be the person that does 4 more years, right? There's no way. We have to get really serious about who the real leader is going to be, and it's going to be the person.
It's interesting how she accuses him of being exhausted and unable to do X, Y, or Z. But he's blowing her out of the water when you actually look at the numbers. I mean, all the media appearances, podcasts, press conferences, the whole nine, it's double. So whatever she's done, he's double that. And he's 78 years old. So
he has backed out of 5, by our count, events, interviews, 60 Minutes, CNBC, NBC. He did Fox and Friends instead, it looks like, but he also ditched an NRA event. So it's not even just that he's kind of dodging maybe tough interviews. And the NRA is a very friendly crowd.
Yeah, interviews, but what he's not dodging are actual campaign events. He's had
except for the NRA
he had 21 campaign events last month compared to Vice President Harris 13. That's a significant number. I went on his website today to just see what events he has upcoming over the next 5 days. I counted 8, 9 events where the former president will be. Governor Walz had 7 events last month compared to J.D. Vance's 14 events. So the Trump-Vance ticket, they're out there talking to their voters.
I think if it was true that he was exhausted, it would make sense because he's doing way more than she's doing. But anyways, I digress. I think the real problem for her is this reality that is starting to set in about where he truly is in this campaign. and how more Americans are stating the obvious.
I think there are a lot of folks, such as myself, who think that Donald Trump's unpopularity is baked in. But here's the deal. If you believe that Donald Trump has somehow become less popular over time, let me change your mind about that. In fact, he is more popular at this point in the campaign than he was at this point in the 2020 campaign or the 2016 campaign. Look, he's still underwater, right, with a negative 9-point net favorability rating. But that is higher than he was in 2020 at minus 12 points when he nearly won. And it is way higher than the minus 27 net favorability back in 2016 when he did win. So I think there's this real question in Kamala Harris's mind, in the campaign's mind, why is Trump more popular now than he was at this point in 2020 and 2016? And I think that is why you're seeing the sharpening attacks, because they want to put him back down to here, or even there's no way that they're necessarily going to back down to here, but they want to make Trump more unpopular than he is right now, because he's more popular now than either point in 2020 or 2016.
So this could be what they're saying with regard to Donald Trump, but could it have something also to do with what they're saying with their candidate, with Kamala Harris or something?
Yeah, look, Kamala Harris is more popular than Donald Trump. But Kamala Harris had her popularity rising once, of course, she became the presumptive Democratic nominee. Look, she was at minus 15 points back on July 17th, then minus 4 points on August 17th, then 1 point on September, plus 1 point. She was actually in positive territory a month ago, but she has fallen back down to minus 1. The momentum of Kamala Harris has stalled. And I think they feel like they have to change something that's going on in their campaign, because they were seeing a rise and now it is stalled out. Look, she's still more popular than Trump. But look, Joe Biden was more popular than Trump, much more, and barely won. And Hillary Clinton was more popular than Donald Trump and lost. Being more popular than Trump isn't enough. She wants to continue to see her favorabilities rise, but in fact, they're going in the wrong direction.
So clearly they want to lower Trump's favorability rating, but it makes you take a step back and really ask the question. We're 3 weeks out from the election. Why are we focusing on that? Shouldn't we have been focusing on that a month ago? Because the only thing that matters right now is getting people to turn out and vote, not trying to persuade people to vote for you. I think we're past that already, but that's my personal opinion. But you know who else made that exact point? Yes, crybaby Van Jones.
Do you think the Harris campaign is doing a good enough job in Michigan, especially with the Arab American and Muslim American community, and especially with the African American community?
Look, I think that they're still in the fight there. Ordinarily, by now, with the black community, it's literally just a turnout operation. And in some ways, it still can be, because black folks are going to outvote for Kamala Harris more than anybody else. Black people are going to be voting in our big majority. But there is still a persuasion operation for black voters. As you guys know, in campaigns, you have persuasion and you have turnout. Right now, you should be in turnout mode for the black community and turnout mode for the Muslim community. You're still in persuasion mode for a lot of places. So that is a struggle.
She's still in persuasion mode. And the problem with that is it indicates that they're scrambling. They've seen the internal polls. They're not where they really want to be. They know there's a chance that Trump will overperform when it comes to election day. And so I think they're trying to just do everything they possibly can. And there's not really a focused strategy right now. Now, in speaking about the turnout, there happens to be a cookie shop or a bakery shop in Philadelphia that has been selling cookies every single election cycle. And it's claimed that whoever has the most cookies that are sold ends up winning the election. I think you're going to get a lot out of this clip, because if we're going to talk about turnout, I think Trump has that covered in this interesting experience in Philadelphia. Check it out.
I think it's me.
She bought a few Trump cookies.
And I wanted to get my mom one because she's 87 years old and she loves Trump.
I think we might not eat them.
We might save them. We might cherish them for a while now.
We didn't find anyone buying Harris cookies in our short time at the bakery.
Anything else tonight?
But that doesn't mean they aren't being purchased.
We actually just ran our numbers today. Donald Trump's leading at 21,000 cookies, individual cookies. Kamala Harris is at 6,200. And the sweetest candidate, it's about 9,800.
Now, who doesn't love cookies, right? And before I even respond to that whole point, do me a favor. If you're getting value from this video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our channel. If you want to support us further, You can go to the link in the description below, grab yourself a t-shirt, or buy us a cup of coffee. Now, in speaking about cookies, which, that tastes really good right now, I find it interesting that 21,000 cookies have been sold for Trump and only 6,000 have been sold for Kamala Harris and Philadelphia. Come on now. So what does that really say about the minds of the voters in this election cycle? Now, what happens if Kamala Harris was to lose? What will be the excuse then? Well, let's hear from probably one of the most wokest, I would say racist, delusional people on this exact topic. Check it out.
Yeah, speaking of laying this at the feet of black men and honest conversations, former President Obama was back out last night. This is the first time since he was in Pittsburgh and invoked the potential of sexism in his appeal to black men to support the vice president. Angela, should there be a course correction because there was so much backlash to that framework? Was it a mistake for the former president to say what he did or to say it publicly? What was your assessment of what we heard from former President Obama?
I think that it's wonderful that President Obama is out hitting the trail for democracy, frankly. And what I think is a mistake is to let white folks escape the accountability that they must face for not showing up to save democracy themselves. Like, they want to get mad at presidential candidates, right, when they don't wear a flag lapel pin or they don't see you pledging allegiance to the flag. That's what they want to get upset about. Now, the face of patriotism to them looks like trying to tear down the Capitol in a terrorist attack on January 6, 2021. So the responsibility of saving democracy should be on the largest demographic in this country. That is white men and white women. I don't want to see a women's march with pussy hats come January if something doesn't go right. What I want to see is for them to march themselves to the polls, including today. We are in Detroit, Michigan for an early vote rally. In Michigan, early voting starts next Saturday, which is my birthday, Victor.
Happy birthday.
But today in Detroit, it starts today. There's a big event at Pistons Land. We will be adjacent to that event, talking to folks, Detroit voters, about what they want to hear, about the agendas that matter to them, about the economy, about healthcare, about ensuring that democracy is preserved, even if it's not perfect. We're doing our part. It's time for white folks to turn their ire and their attention to each other to ensure they also do their part.
Let me say.
Got it. So it's on white people now. So first you guys tried to blame black men. You could thank Obama for that. Now we're trying to blame white women. Okay, got it. But I thought that's the same white women that you guys are claiming are going to come out and vote for you. So which one is it? It's just interesting that this is the perception that the Democrats have, that it's about race. And race is what's going to dictate this election. And that's why I believe that former President Trump, he's running a great campaign. He's going out there and he's talking to everyone the same way. It doesn't matter your color, your creed, your religion, your gender. He treats you all equally in the way that he speaks. Whether he criticizes you or he builds you up, it's the same damn Donald Trump everywhere he goes. You can't say that for Kamala Harris. You know she switches up on her accent everywhere she goes. She tries to pander to any type of demographic group she's talking to. She switches up on her policies if she needs to. That's not a very authentic person. We know that. In fact, that's the polar opposite of one.
You better thank a union member for the 5-day work week. You better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave. You better thank a union member for vacation time.
And that really speaks to another issue she's had this entire time. She has failed to define herself, and that might just be the downfall of her election, because we know what we're getting with Trump. And the person who spoke about this recently that I thought really destroyed her campaign, by the way, in the way that he was speaking about it, is Bill Maher. Check it out.
Trump is invulnerable to an October surprise, but she is very vulnerable because she's the one who is still undefined. And as she showed in this week's Bret Baier interview, her go-to when attacked for her own actions is usually Trump is worse. Okay, we know that. But now undecided voters want to hear about you. They want someone to vote for. This election comes down to this. Trump has a coalition of voters made up of A, people who really do like him, and B, people who think with all of his flaws, he's still better than far-left insanity. And the voters' big doubt about Kamala is, are you part of far-left insanity? The attack ad I see 10 times a day, and a question Bret Baier aimed at her on Wednesday, was about her saying in 2019 that she supported providing taxpayer-funded sex change operations to illegal immigrants in prison. Something that's actually never happened and has no real bearing on anybody's life. But it's a litmus test for voters out there who want to know of the Democrat, is there anything your fringe can suggest that will ever make you say, no, that's fucking ridiculous?
See, that's the thing, Bill Maher. Kamala Harris does not strike me as a person who's going to take on people and reject her own party's ideas on certain subjects, especially this trans issue. I think this is an easy one. Overwhelmingly, people in this country would never support something like that. Even people on her side wouldn't support that. So it's interesting that she doesn't even want to put her foot down on that. And again, that speaks to what? The new generation of leadership she's trying to promote. Okay, so it's the type of leadership that can't say no to her own party. Say what you want about Trump, but he said no to the Republican Party. He said no to the Democratic Party. He said no to everyone in Washington. And that's why he has a target on his back. But there's a certain level of respect that a person earns when they're able to stand up and just say no.
What I was writing about, how the Harris campaign is campaigning, and frankly, what Trump is trying to do, sort of tells you where this electorate is. The electorate has shifted to the right in this country.
Yeah.
Okay. For the last 4 years, the Republican Party has re-registered, has done voter registration, has run circles around the Democratic Party on voter registration. They have upped the numbers. This is a different electorate. While the map may look the same, the country has shifted a point or two to the right. Well, what does that mean? It means Harris has to win a majority of independents and some of these Trump skeptical Republicans. So in theory, she's talking to the right group of voters. Now, the question is she saying what's necessary to then get them to do something they normally don't do, which is not vote for a Republican, right?
Right.
And I think that's the question. Has she broken from Biden enough? They know, you can see they know who their voter is that they have to get. But are they messaging to that voter correctly? And my argument is they're frankly a bit too bogged down by Biden and Biden's record, and they haven't found a better way to separate yet.
And so as I think about this entire video, how many more mistakes is she going to make on the campaign trail? We said about a month ago, whoever makes the most mistakes, the mistakes that are fatal, will lose this election. I think right now she's beating Trump on that. Trump hasn't really made any fatal mistakes. I mean, I'm not too sure he can, but as far as thinking about all the crazy things that Trump could do or say, we haven't had that in a very long time now, especially over the past month. But it just seems that Kamala Harris every single day is doing something that is like, what, are you trying to not get elected? So that's my opinion on this. And what do you guys think about her heckling these Christians that were at her rally? Again, what do you think about her skipping that Al Smith dinner? What do you think about these excuses that these people on the left are coming up with if she loses by blaming white women? I guess they moved on from black men, which is interesting. And then what did you think about what Bill Maher had to say about her chances? Because time's running out. I want to know what your guys' thoughts are and more in the comment section below. Now, of course, this video was my opinion, but what about the opinion from actual voters in these swing states like Michigan? Well, there's a video that I reacted to where swing voters destroyed Kamala just completely and really rejected her campaign. If you want to hear me talk about all of that, that video is coming up right now.